Welcome to the Emerging Lawyer series at the Coffee Corners Show, powered by the Emerging India Forum TIF and a tech partner, Prime Infotech Solution. Theme is Between Contract and Coffee. We have with us Nidhi Agrawal, Senior Associate at DSK Legal. From her hands-on experience in data privacy and AI regulations to her journey leading Mumbai's vibrant cultural festival, Meraki, Nidhi has crafted a dynamic path in the legal world. So, in this episode, we'll talk about her professional milestones, her views on evolving legal landscapes, and her personal stories that shaped her. So, welcome, Nidhi, to today's coffee conversation.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhavin. And thank you
So,
for the kind introduction.
yeah, that credit goes to the team and me to take you. So, coffee is all about memories and being the change makers. So, yeah. So, let me explain you. It is divided into what do you say? Three parts: your professional journey, personal journey, and there is a surprise rapid fire round for which you have to be witty, fun, and quick. And then
Okay.
book, which is autographed by me, will be your gift. So, friends, I'm Lion Amir Virani, host at Coffee Conversation and legal tech evangelist at Prime Infotech Solution, author of 15 books. We help law firms, corporate legal, startups, and SMEs with world-class technology, software licensing, and tech training solutions. So, my first question, Nidhi, what inspired you to choose law as a career path, and how have you found your niche?
So have you ever stood frozen, overwhelmed by too many choices? That was me at 18. There were way too many career options, and it was quite intimidating, to be honest, to figure out exactly what I wanted to do. At that point, I knew that I liked business and finance. I had an aptitude for deep analysis. It was something that I would enjoy doing. And I've always been into extracurriculars of public speaking. So, family would always joke around, like, you should be a lawyer. This is something that comes to you naturally. So, eventually, with guidance from everyone and figuring a couple of things out, I had narrowed down to two options. One was chartered accountancy, because that is something that a lot of people in my family have done. And the other one was law. Funnily, the only subject that I ended up studying from the chartered accountancy program that I signed up for was the legal books, law books. So I think eventually that's how I figured that maybe giving law a shot would be the more prudent choice. And that's how I ended up giving CLAT. But I didn't want to leave finance completely. So I ended up taking an integrated course of BBA LLB at NYMS and pursued both finance and law. With
Wow.
respect to the second part of your question, at DSK, finding my niche, it was more of a trial and error, to be honest. At that point in time, when I had just graduated, we were right in the middle of COVID, and I had done extensive internships on data privacy and evolving landscapes with respect to that. So that definitely was a very strong interest area for me. But given the landscape at that point in time, it wasn't as developed an industry or a practice area. So I ended up choosing something that I have worked with in my internship days and decided to give real estate a shot as well. And the rest is history.
Wow. So, Nidhi, with a background in contract law and cybersecurity, how do you handle cases that intersect tech and legal?
So from a client perspective, there's one thing that I have noticed is the people that we as lawyers interact with on the in-house side may not be as up to speed on the tech aspects of the case. So usually a lot of the approach has to be, bridging that gap, understanding what is the requirement of the client, what is the background that's running in the organization with respect to the tech aspect, and then marrying that with the legal framework that's currently existing, as well as ensuring that the framework we suggest kind of marries the upcoming policies that we are seeing and the trends that we're seeing in the acts, the bills that are being proposed, or even, for example, the rules, the draft rules right now. So to find a middle ground there, and that's how we that's the approach we take.
Wow. So, Nidhi, you have worked extensively on data privacy and AI regulations. So, how do you see these laws evolving over the years?
a very interesting question. Just to give a little bit of background, if you see there's something that's happening, there's something new happening every day, especially on the tech side. And with something that's so fast evolving, the legal landscape also needs, it's more of a catch up sort of a situation right now, especially when it comes to legal policy regulating the technological advancements. Having said that, if you see the geographies involved, primarily the most dominant players would be the US, the EU, China, and considering our nationalities, India is a very important market for us. So I'll cover a little bit about India as well. Previously, there are three very different and distinct approaches that these countries have taken. So, for example, the US has taken an approach where for data privacy, they don't have any omnibus law that governs it on the federal level. They have provincial legislations, and multiple states have come up with their data privacy laws that have been passed and they're starting to implement. As opposed to the EU, where you have the omnibus GDPR, which is a very comprehensive legislation that has also taken a very strict position when it comes to protecting the rights of EU citizens, whether it's within for country or companies operating within the country, or even companies operating outside but dealing with EU citizens' data. And then you have China, which is a budding market, which needs to focus on ensuring that the industry also doesn't get stifled while protecting the rights of its citizens and keeping in line with the global trends. So for China, so data privacy and the way the countries deal with that has direct implication on the AI industry of that particular country, because the feeding, the food, basically, the most essential element of an AI model would be the data that goes in, right? So if you see across so far and for the next 5 years, what we're seeing with countries is how their data privacy regulations are impacting the way the AI businesses are operating. Since EU has such a stringent regime in place, there is a little bit of resistance that EU is now seeing with respect to the growth of the AI industry within the EU market, as opposed to the approach that US has taken, where there is a lot of boom with AI technologies and AI regulations are more self-regulatory in nature at this point in time. And similarly with China, they have self-regulatory positions, but they don't have a comprehensive national law when it comes to AI. So in the next 5 years, I think most countries are trying to find the balance between consolidating their data privacy regime while also giving a stimulus to the AI industry that is definitely going to be the industry of the future. And with respect to India, considering it's been a long way for us to reach any sort of regulation when it comes to data privacy, finally, after 4 long years, we have our DPDA, and the rules have recently been open for public consultation. So we are seeing definite progress. A little late to the game, but better late than never. So I think the next couple of years, what we will see is implementation, a transitional phase where companies will come to comply with the data protection framework that the country is going to see. And it will be interesting to see how that affects the AI industry of our country.
Wow. So Nidhi, you have interned at multiple firms before joining DSK Legal. How did those early experience shape your approach today?
I think it is very important to have intern during law school. It gives you a lot of insight into how the industry actually works. So as a student, we have a very idealistic mindset about how things would work and how we would give advice. A lot of people, including myself, are influenced by fancy shows like Suits. So you think that the world works a particular way, and these internships really open your eyes to the kind of basic problems that a lawyer also encounters, and it opens up the way you're supposed to think. So I think the biggest takeaway from me from all my internships was developing the knack to analyze and respond to the requirements of your client.
Wow. So, Nidhi, as a senior associate, what's been your most challenging case or project so far, and how did you navigate through it?
So that project is still underway, so I will not take names of the project, but just to give a little bit of background, one of the most complex cases that I have dealt with and I found most personally challenging was a stuck redevelopment project at Worthy that our clients were looking at. And the complexity was manifold. So to give some examples, it was a large layout of land with multiple parcels, each having its own unique issues. Since it was a stuck project, we had multiple stakeholders who already had rights in the layout and in the proposed project at that point in time. Roughly on an average around 50 individual instances and 5 such categories of people that we had started off with. And our clients were going to come in and, restructure this and become the new developer. So it was quite complex and challenging. And I think the way that I navigated through it was simple principles, break down complex problems into smaller sections so that it's easier to identify and walk through it. Extremely pressurizing because it is a high stakes deal. And we have so many people to deal with. So at the end of the day, we have to protect our clients' legal interests, but also ensure that the deal goes through. So high stress, high pressure. To deal with that, I think the easiest way is, sometimes just take a step back, breathe, accept that it is pressurizing, but also have that confidence in yourself that you can do it. And I think the third guiding principle and key to navigating such kind of transactions is ask for feedback from your seniors. You shouldn't hesitate to reach out to seniors for guidance. It's okay. I think they're also very cognizant of everything that a junior goes through in a transaction. So if sometimes you just have an open conversation with them, it's easier to navigate the situation that you're yourself going through, and you get good insight on how to better deal with situations.
Wow. So, Nidhi, who has influenced you or been your mentor from the legal world, and what key learnings did you get from them?
Professionally, I think for me, it is my current boss, whom I work very closely with, the deputy managing partner of DSK Legal, Mr. Sajid Swarna. One of the reasons why I find him to be my professional role model, actually a couple of them, but I'll just restrict it to a few for this conversation, is he has an ability to break down complex problems into simpler buckets and then address them. So no matter how challenging the deal is, it is always fun to work with him, and it's not as difficult as you would think of it when you start off. So he has this uncanny ability to break down very complex things into simpler buckets and extreme clarity of thought. And that is something that I aspire to develop over my career. Clarity of thought does help us as lawyers address issues that are thrown at us from our clients, and also assists us in helping our clients achieve their end goals. So I think these two very key things for our industry, which he embodies on a day in and day out basis. And for these two primary reasons, I think he is my role model.
So, Nidhi, how did this festival Meraki come about? And I'm dividing two parts. First part is, how did this festival come about? And your role as chairperson, how did it influence your leadership style in the corporate world?
So, Meraki was a cultural festival that was aimed at ensuring that we have some sort of a cultural and college experience outside the demanding requirements of being a law student. So it was supposed to be a breather. Coming from NM College in 11th and 12th, where there's a very active college festival scene, when I walked into NMIMS, and at that point in time, we didn't have a strong cultural festival in place. I think I definitely felt like there was something that we need to do outside of moot courts and debates and very lawyery things. So that's essentially where Meraki as an idea had come about from. And that, yeah, it was just a bunch of us who iterated on it, pushed through, through and tried to make this idea happen. How it has influenced my leadership. Um, Very honestly, it is quite challenging to host a cultural festival, especially in a law school, because the expectation from your college is focus on legal related things, focus on law. So to convince internally within the system that there is a requirement for something like this, while also convincing law students that instead of focusing only on moots and debates that look good on your CV, we need to have a personality out of that, outside of that as well. So from a leadership perspective, I think a lot of convincing and persuasion skills have gotten developed. Identifying the right team members, I think that is something that definitely has helped me from Meraki to today's corporate life, because you need to be able to channelize the strengths of the person for the requirement. Not everyone is good at everything, and expecting someone, pushing someone over the edge for trying to perform something that's not naturally a trait for them, I don't think that's a very efficient way of doing things. So Meraki was a journey of learning a lot of these things hardcore upfront in reality with experience, and eventually taking those life lessons and experiences and doing better in the corporate world.
Wow. So, Nidhi, how has technology helped you and which legal tech tool has impacted your work?
Technology really makes life easier, and one of the most frequently used legal tech tools in my daily life is Litera Compare. What it essentially does for us is, if you have two Word documents that you want to compare, two PDFs that you want to compare, two Word Excel versions that you want to compare, it's a software that does that, and it has a lot of customization options as well. So it is really, really helpful because it gives you summaries and it identifies, it gives you more comparison than a word compare. If something has moved from the top of the document to the bottom or to a different clause, but your language remains the same, it really helps because it identifies that in a different color. So instead of rereading the clause as a fresh clause, it just shows us that from an understanding perspective, the language has remained the same. We've just changed the location of it, and that significantly reduces our review time when we're looking at contracts. So Litera Compare, yes, is one of the things that is very heavily used by all of us and made our lives much, much simpler.
For my last one, what advice would you give to fresh law graduates looking to break into top-tier firms like DSK Legal?
I just have two words for the fresh law graduates: aptitude and attitude. Both of them need to be in the right place. Everyone, as a fresher, has very high expectations from themselves. And I mean, it's good that they do have those high expectations, but they often, fatigue themselves out from that. So I think what's most important is during your law school journey, please focus on developing an aptitude, getting your fundamentals right, very important, but also focus on having the right attitude. As freshers, if you come with the attitude of wanting to learn, wanting to improve, even if you don't know something, your senior, the other side, your client, multiple people will be there to guide you. So instead of coming from a place of I know this to I'm happy to learn something new, I think that's the key to success generally and to breaking into tier one.
Beautiful. Now let's go to the next round and understand Nidhi as a person. Tell us about your family and your formative years.
So I come from a family of four. My parents, my father is a chartered accountant and consultant, and my mother is a dietitian and nutritionist. I also have an elder sister who has also done chartered accountancy and currently works in financial modeling. My formative years, I have studied in Arya Vidya Mandir, which is a school in Mumbai under the ICSE board. I have then gone on to doing my junior college at NM College, where I took finance as my field, and eventually university at NMIMS School of Law, where I've done BBA LLB. And across my entire journey, I have been very active in public speaking events, elocutions, debates, moot court competitions. You would find me there. So, yeah.
Wow. So what's your go-to way to unwind after a long day at work, Nidhi?
My go-to way is to meditate. It really helps bring down the stress of a long day. I also like to paint, so that is very therapeutic to me after a very long day. If I have the time, but definitely something on a go-to list if I've had very stressful couple of days. And lastly, I think it's just, chit-chatting with your family, spending time with them, because it takes you out of that work zone. So I think, yeah, that's my go-to.
Wow. So what's one hobby you have always wanted to try but haven't yet?
Interesting. So it has been on my list for the longest time to pick up a musical instrument and learn how to play it. Especially considering, in Meraki and in the cultural festivals, you see so many people perform and they're so good at it. And I've always had an affinity to cultural arts. So this is definitely a hobby that has been in the waiting, and hopefully I'll pick it up soon.
So put it on your bucket list for 2025 and implement. So when we meet again on coffee, so share your experience. So that will be really inspiring. So see, coffee also inspires and lets you plan what things you are not able to do.
Perfect.
Okay. So Nidhi, if you could plan an ideal vacation, where would you like to go and what would be your itinerary?
Okay, so I would love to go to the Scandinavian countries. That is something that has intrigued me for a very long time. What would be my ideal itinerary? Uh, as a person, I am very meticulous when it comes to planning my vacations. So can't really list out an itinerary off the bat, but definitely a couple of things that I have in mind that I really want to do in Scandinavia. So I think that's where we are today.
If your friends had to describe you in 3 words, what would they say?
I think meticulous planner would be the first, considering if we are going on any vacation, it is my job to, research, get the itinerary together. They would also, I think, describe me as empathetic because I am the group's shoulder to cry on, active listener, happy to, just hear them bounce their ideas off me. And third, I would just say fun because outside of all the stress and intensity that comes with being a lawyer, I think in my personal time, I just like to, relax and have some fun.
Wow. So what's the one family tradition you absolutely love and look forward to every year?
Diwali, definitely a strong family tradition for me. As a family, we come together, celebrate, decorate the entire house together. There'll be a lot of good food, a lot of conversation, meeting a lot of people that, we love but may not have stayed in touch with very actively. So always a fun time and something I look forward to every year.
So what's your goal for 2025 personally and professionally to do?
In 2025, my personal goals are to just, continue development in all aspects. So just to give a little bit of background, reading a lot is something that I enjoy, and that is something that I want to continue. I have realized that as I'm increasing in my PQE, the time that I get for my personal reading, it kind of goes down outside of legal work, whatever I want to read. So that is a personal goal for me to, stay on, determined to continue my personal reading and development. For professional growth, um, it is to increase my expertise in my current area of practice, which is real estate, but also tap into the potential that data privacy and AI regulations and its upcoming practice area is bringing along. So to actively work within the firm to develop this practice area is something that is there on a professional goal.
Wow. So my last one is a googly one. Describe Nidhi in one line.
Someone that has always got your back.
Wow. Beautiful. Okay, let's have some fun. The rapid fire round. You're early bird or night owl?
Early bird.
Okay. Mumbai street food or fine dining?
Fine dining.
If you could master one skill, what would it be?
Sorry, your voice cracked. Can you
If you-
repeat your question?
If you could master one skill, what would it be?
Speed reading.
Your favorite color?
In black as of now.
Your go-to comfort food?
घर का खाना. I love dal chawal.
Okay. Books or podcast?
Books.
Best piece of advice received?
Keep going.
If you could swap lives with a fictional character for a day, who would it be?
I don't think I would want to swap my life. The whole joy of living in reality and so many variables is something that I enjoy. So I don't think I will swap my life with anyone.
Wow. Okay. Tea or coffee?
I'm actually an anti-caffeine person. I do not support this caffeine culture that we have in our industry. So very high on green tea and non-caffeinated options.
It's all right. Let's raise toast. So you did well, and here's a gift,
Thank
which will be
you.
autographed and sent to you. So friends, it was a lovely conversation having with Nidhi. So I would recommend all those young law graduates, not only law, be part of a college activities and take leadership roles, which will help you in your career, which Nidhi has shared. So watch the episode. Nidhi has been part of the action-oriented cybersecurity, data privacy, AI, tech law. So all those young law graduates who want to, and plus how she is now senior associate at DSK Legal. So how to become a senior associate very soon. This is what Nidhi has shared in the episode. So all those coffee speakers share their journey, their expertise, their personal things. So this episode is what is inspires all people out there. Watch, subscribe to the Coffee Conversation where there are 350 plus coffee episodes with different subject experts in the field. So if you want to be featured like Nidhi, visit our LinkedIn page, the Emerging India Forum, or a company website, the Emerging India Forum. Our team will invite you to have coffee conversation. So take care.
Thank you. Have a great day.